So again, Flipgrid, it's flipgrid.com. You sign in. In fact, let me just go ahead and walk you through that again, since you didn't get to see it. You go to flipgrid.com. You can sign up if you haven't. I'm going to go ahead and log into mine. As you just see, click a button and you're in. Okay, so these are, again, like I was talking about, these are my groups, which are like classrooms. And in your groups, so let me go ahead and click on a group here. I have topics. Yes, I'm a dork. Those of you who know me already know that. Those of you who don't, welcome to my world. Okay, so these are the topics that you create to ask questions of your students. Flipgrid is great if you've already done your research. It's basically a video recording for students to interact with each other and connect with each other. It's super, super simple. So your topics can stand alone. You can put topics into groups, or if you're not that organized and you're fine and you want to just go ahead and create a standalone topic, that's fine too. I know a lot of teachers create groups for each subject area. So for example, if you're an elementary teacher, middle school, you might have more than one subject. So you'll have math and ELA. The high school teachers will do it by period. So this is my ELA first, this is my English Lit, this is Brit Lit, this is American Lit, this is AP, and they'll organize their groups that way. All right, so let's get started with creating a topic. That's the first thing we're going to do. So from the discussion tab, you click over here to topics, and you click the blue button that says add a topic. And there you go, boom. Topics are where your students record their videos, okay? So you're going to give your topic a title. So I used to be a high school English teacher, and I loved teaching Romeo and Juliet, much to the dismay of my students who hated it. But I always like to ask the question, who was most to blame for Romeo and Juliet's deaths? Oh, okay. Actually, that's your title, so I'm going to put that in the question. All right, and then you add a title. You can see you only get 35 characters. There's your prompt. You get to choose the recording time. Students have 15 seconds up to 10 minutes to record their video response. You all are teachers. I don't recommend anything longer than 2. And sometimes for me, even 1:30 is pushing it. So unless it's a really, like for math, if you have students who are holding up a whiteboard and explaining their thinking, I like to limit it to 1 minute. That's just me. I've worked with students who have gone over 1 minute and then they're like, oh, darn, I have to re-record or I have to cut. That's a great learning experience too, learning how to edit for brevity, learning to choose things, you know, your words most appropriately. You also have this great option for your students to put closed captions in your videos. We live in the digital age, and we have so many different types of learners. So because we're becoming more sensitive to the needs of students, I highly recommend adding closed captions to your videos. The next thing you'll deal with is video moderation. What if I toggle this switch? That means that the newest videos will be hidden from students until I choose to activate them. So it's like, your group is like I said, the topic is like a classroom. So you give students a question, they respond with a video, and they go ahead and answer. Now you have the choice to, like I said, toggle this switch on or off. It's up to you. I usually do not hide videos from students unless I'm doing a private topic, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I like to, because you know what, it's actually a lot more work for you. And I find if at the beginning you have a serious talk with kiddos saying, hey, guess what? You ding dongs are going to be recorded. So it's there for posterity. So I highly recommend you think before you decide to be a goofball. And usually it's like an upfront little chat with them, you know, kind of sets the record straight. The next thing you can add to your topic are all, look at this. This is craziness. I could go ahead and record a video. This is what we used to do at the very beginning of Flipgrid, is that the teacher, because kids like to see our face, is that the teacher would record a video. So I could record myself asking the question. I'm not going to hit that button now, only because I'll show you later, but when I'm doing a video call and I also activate my camera, I get over pixelated. You can upload a video. Suppose you video and screencastify, or even on your phone. This is great for science teachers. Science teachers will like to record themselves doing a lab experiment and then ask students to make a hypothesis. So teachers can upload their own video of something. You can also choose to upload a video from YouTube or Vimeo explaining a concept and then asking students to respond to it. You can upload an image, okay? And again, something that you already have. So, you know, if you've got an image right here, a JPEG or a PNG, and they give you the idea, you know, the size. Depending, kids love GIFs. I'm constantly entering GIFs into my topic. It's just who I am. Yeah, you can see my most recent one was Vanilla Ice. Okay, but so I'm going to put Romeo and Juliet here and see what pops up. Okay, tons of GIFs. So I'm going to put this one in there. Let's see. This was specifically about their death. So I'm going to click select. I've got new media there. I'm going to delete that for a second because I want to show you the other options. You can also add an emoji. You can add stuff from your Microsoft account or your Google Drive. You can upload a Kahoot. You know, you could put a Kahoot in there, a self-paced Kahoot, kids could do it. And then all of a sudden you're asking them to reflect on their learning. What did you learn? What could you have done better? Wakelet is now connected with Flipgrid, as you saw. You can upload your Nearpod lessons, anything from Newsela, from Adobe Spark. Wonderopolis is awesome. They have partnered with Flipgrid, and if you're familiar with Wonderopolis, it asks questions of students. And of course, you can also upload a Buncee slide. I'm going to go back to my GIF because I really do like Jiffies. Okay. I'm going to select. All right. Now, this is where you want to be very clear about who can get to your Flipgrid. This is where teachers sometimes fall into a little bit of a trap where they're not sure what they're doing. So, because you're working with students, both Flipgrid and I are always going to recommend that you keep it private for CAPA and FERPA concerns. And the easiest way to do that is that you have students join your Flipgrid, your topic, your group, using their student email. And what you'll see here is you'll have to add the email domain for your school. So if you're a Google school, you're going to be like, you know, at northroyalton.org, and you would type that in here. Okay. I'm making that up. I really don't know what North Royalton's is, but you would type in the at and anything that comes after in your like normal Gmail for your school. And that way you're guaranteeing that students are going to be easily able to just simply connect with a button. Now for little kids, and I taught technology K through 8, and it took me 9 weeks just to get K through 2 to remember how to type in a password and a username. But you can also Flipgrid has made it simple. If your younger students don't have Gmail accounts through your district or Microsoft emails through your district, you can go ahead and just simply type in first name, and I recommend just the last initial. And a username could be something as simple as their birth date, their name, work with them, the name of their favorite pet, their lunch number, their school ID number, could be anything you want. And then that is how your students can, your little students who maybe don't have their Microsoft or Google school emails or who are younger, can go ahead and join that way. And I would click add. You can also upload a CSV file, and they've got a template to show you how to do that. So they really do make it very easy for you, for kiddos to join and for you to create. You can also add a password here. Since your parents and guardians don't have school Gmail or Microsoft accounts, you can go ahead and give a password to guardians and parents, or even better, experts. So let's say you're hosting something, you're having a community expert or an author, someone from the community joining your podcast, or excuse me, joining your Flipgrid. This is the best way to go ahead and do that. You'll want to toggle that guest password switch. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just keep my organization's Google account right there. But I have made mine, by the way, and mine is public. I have made my Flipgrid public. All right. And I am going to go ahead and create the topic, and then that's it. And here's what you're going to see now. You have a direct link to your Flipgrid. No passwords, no nothing. You've got a direct link. You can copy it. You can make it a QR code so students can scan it with their phone, which, by the way, there is also a Flipgrid app. So for those of you who have students who don't have access maybe to Chromebooks or laptops or PCs, the Flipgrid app is awesome sauce. So you can go ahead and create a QR code. You can copy and embed code and embed it directly into your website if you have a teacher website. If you work with Microsoft Teams, all you got to do is click this button and it'll go directly to Microsoft Teams. If you want to add this directly to your Google Classroom, you click that button. And many of you I know use Remind to communicate with students. Same thing, just click that button and it goes out. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy that for right now and hit all set. Now, this is what's awesome. So you can see here that this is the topic. From the teacher side of things, I do not see any responses right now, but here is where I would see responses if I were the teacher. But one of the things I love when I create is I want to see things from the student side of things. So before I get off my topic that I've created, which, by the way, here's the title, here's the prompt, here's the GIF that I talked about, I'm going to look at it as a student. I want to see how students are going to view it. And I click the join link real quickly. And here's what students see. Again, the title, the Jiffy, and how to, they have a lot of options to record a response. They can click up here, they can click here, or they can just go ahead and click here. I'm going to record a response as a student. Okay. Now, again, pardon my over pixelation from what you're going to see on my screen because I've got two cameras. Okay, so I do look over pixelated. And here are all, but I wanted to show you these options for when I record as a student. So first and foremost, this book up here, when I click it as a student, I get the topic again. I don't have to click back and forth between tabs or windows. The topic comes up right there. Also, I can add a sticky note as a student. So I can sort of provide myself with some visual cues, some bullet points, things that I may want to make sure I cover in my recording. And by the way, thumbs up. Can you see me trying to record myself? Yes? Okay, good. And my big giant head over pixelated. Okay, so those things are super cool and easy. But here's where the magic happens. You go down here to the three little dots, and again, as an English teacher, whenever you see these three little dots, either vertically or horizontally, it's an ellipsis. It means, just like in English, more is to come. So when you click on these options, I want to show you what students can do, because here's, again, like I said, the magic happens. Allow your students to be creative. They are tech dependent. They're also tech savvy, and they will work through this stuff like crazy. So they have the option to upload a clip. So let's say that they have performed a science experiment and they want to upload it here and then discuss their findings. They can do that here. They can also do the mirror video. So if I click this, you'll see I go back and forth. So I saw someone on a Flipgrid webinar say, oh, this is great because they can do a back and forth interview with each other. So Napoleon, what did you think about Waterloo? Oh, it was not good. I have been exiled. Super sorry to hear that. So students to play around with is mirroring the video. They can also mute themselves. Sometimes I've seen a lot of teachers do this, where especially like sign language teachers or teachers who just want students to show something instead of talking over it. And students also have the option to record their screen, just like a screencast. If I click this right now, it's going to go crazy with all the cameras I have open. But here, I'll tell you why I like to use record screen. Remember how I talked about a private, with the video moderation, I talked about how to create a private Flipgrid. I do that a lot. In fact, let me show you. Do I have one here? Let me go back to my discussions. Bear with me. Yes. So whenever I do an online book study or whenever I do an online course, I always provide a virtual help desk. So this is a place where teachers and students can meet me if they're having problems and they want to talk to me and they just want to do it privately. In fact, you'll notice it's private because it has that little stop hand there. And so I always build in a virtual help desk in all of my courses, and that's where the Vanilla Ice can. I'm a child of the 80s. Sorry, 80s and 90s. This is, so of course, if you got a problem, I'll try to solve it. Check out my hook while my DJ revolves it. All right, really bad. But this also allows students to record. So if a student is having a tech issue, a teacher, a lot of times they do, and I say, you know what, record your screen. Walk me through the issue. So that's why it also might come in handy for students if they're having tech issues to go ahead and record their screen. All right, so let me get back to what it looks like as a student. Okay, so those are some options I have to go ahead and try. And then here's the extra fun, the effects. Again, this is Generation Z and Gen Alpha. They love personalizing everything. So why should they be allowed to personalize themselves in Flipgrid? So here are your effects. You have filters. I can change the filter of how my Flipgrid appears. These next two options I highly recommend for students who are camera shy. There's this brick option, so you can't really tell who it is. And there's also a pixelated option. These are also good, by the way, for like a big reveal video or guess who. Let's say you do have a community speaker or a guest. It would be a great idea to use that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this one because it makes me look a little softer. All right. I can now go back over to frames. I can frame myself in any way I want. I have all these options to frame the way I look. Here's a little Polaroid going old school. Unicorns. Undersea. In the jungle. Flowers. Little retro. And this I think would be so cool to use. You notice this is breaking news. Students could record a video of themselves retelling an historical event from, as a news anchor. And then they can also probably use that back and forth to, interview a guest. So this is super fun to use. I'm just going to go ahead and use the little sparkle there. Students also can add all types of emojis. So there are emojis, sorry, they're taking a little while to load here. So they can add emojis to their picture. All of the emojis are there. They can add people to represent themselves. There's all kinds of accessories. I love the accessories. I have way too much fun with accessories. Here, I'll show you. Let me put a little mustache on. Ho, ho, ho. It is me. Yeah. All right. Okay. And you can get rid of that. So let me go back to that with all the emojis. There's accessories. Also, they just added reactions. So these are like stickers. So you see they've added some math reactions there for teachers as they requested that. There's shapes that students can add. There's these little, comic book effects. Also add speech or thought bubbles to a grid. There's some magics and wizards. And ASL, so American Sign Language, has been added. So they've really been thinking of everything, and they really do like to think about what teachers need. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. And I can flip that. I can resize it. I can rotate it, move it around. Okay, so those were emojis. I can also add text. One of the fun things I love doing is having students write a tweet to summarize a nonfiction article or a fiction article because they're limited to 140 or 280 characters. So I love doing that, or they can just simply introduce themselves. And you can see here, you just pick a text style. I'm going to type my name. And I can also change the color. And I can change add a little stroke to it and make it stand out more. Obviously, your possibilities are totally endless. Okay, so, and I'm pink girl, so I'm going to add that. So you've got a text there. And finally, a couple other things. Sorry, you can add draw features. So I can choose. This is great for students who want to draw something really quickly. Younger students, like say, you know what, let me undo that by clicking the undo button. Maybe you want your younger students to talk about how they're, draw me an at word. Draw me draw me a letter that begins with the letter C. So that's fun too. It's also good for quick math teachers. You can add the draw feature there. Let me move that. And you can also go ahead. This is what's great. You can also go ahead and add a whiteboard. So they have added these board features over the last year. They added it last summer. You have here a dot grid. It's hard to see now with all my stuff, but here's a dot grid for students to work with. Here's graph paper, notebook paper, galaxy, more backgrounds, a blackboard, and a whiteboard. Now you're noticing that I'm still here, but I also have a whiteboard feature here that I can draw on. That's because of the split screen. If I move this over to the side, I can still talk. And let me go grab a drawing tool. And there I'm talking as a student. I know that I had 2 dots and I had 2 dots, and then I counted them up and that gave me 4 dots. So that's another option for students. Let me go ahead and clear all that out. And also, sorry, I'm not gonna lie, this is like my favorite. Kids love to add custom stickers. So they can add stickers of themselves or a photo. They call it stickers, but it's a photo. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop one in there. So that's me on the beach, can't you tell? So here I am over there. And now I have added all of these things about myself, and I'm going to quickly record. I know it's going to be hard to take me seriously, but I really do believe that Romeo was responsible for the death of both of them. If he had not acted so impulsively, I do believe the story would have had a different ending, but then we wouldn't have had this tragedy. Okay, I click pause. I have the option to redo if I don't like what I've done. Also pausing, I can go ahead and now change all of my background. I could tell a story if I wanted to. I could delete all of these things right now and change the background or put on a new mask and do things. So again, the options are limitless, but I'm gonna leave it like it is. And I'm gonna hit next. And I know it's gonna be hard to allows me to review. But I really do believe that Romeo was responsible for the death. There's my video. And then for the final part, students get to add a selfie. And they do still have all of these options. And this is, again, like an avatar for students. And the reason for the selfie, and you'll see it in a minute, is it shows you who's responding. So I'm going to go ahead and take and hit next, uploading the video. So there, it always does a display name for privacy. It does first name, last initial. I can provide a link. So let's say if I had a link to some of my work that I wanted to share out. When I do this with teachers, I also like them to put a title in there for what they do. So I do a lot with teachers, obvi, but I like to have them put in their title and their grade and what they do. You could have kiddos here do a quick tweet. Or a quick note, so you get a quick overview of how they're feeling. And then hit submit. Boom, totally done. Now as a student, here's a direct link to my video if I want to share it. I can go ahead and download a QR code to share it. I can download the video to save it for myself later, or damn girl, that's a good selfie. I want to download that later. I'm not going to do any of those things right now, but I'm going to go ahead and click complete. And now I'm going to go back to the educator side of things. We should be able to get out of here. Oh, wait, you know what? Let me go back to this right here. Discussion. Let's go into my room. I didn't add it as a room. I added it as a topic, I believe. In my discussions, topics, there we go. And there it is. I have options. I can edit the topic if I want to, record a response. I'll add it to discovery. I'll talk about that in a minute. I can hide it if we're done with it. But I don't want to delete it because I'd like to use it with a future class. I'm going to go ahead and hide it, share it. I can also add it to another group. So if I have 3 sections of 9th grade English and I don't want to have to recreate this, I'll just add it to another one of my 9th grade English groups. I can duplicate it, export it, or go ahead and delete it. But let me show you what it looks like from the teacher side of things. So I see that Stephanie has responded. I can go ahead and click on it. I know it's going to be hard to take me seriously, but I'm going to go ahead and review it. Now, here's what comes up underneath the student response. Just some basic details like the timestamp, which is important. I can also provide feedback in a couple ways. I can provide private feedback by recording a video just to that student. I'm not going to do that, but I'll show you. Also, Flipgrid does this built-in rubric. So you would decide ahead of time with your students, and I've done this a lot of times. We talk about the rubric ahead of time and what we could do. Okay, well, depending on the rubric, maybe I like to sometimes use the Marzano scale. And the 5 being like, wow, you have completely blown me away. And same thing for performance. And then I also have the option here to add some detailed feedback for Stephanie. Like I might say here in my private comments or in my private video, again, So no other students see it, just my student Stephanie. I might say, you know what, Stephanie, I like what you said, but I would like to see you provide more evidence from the text to support your answer. Typical English teacher. All right, and here's where I can edit my information or the student's information. Let's say something, you know, again, but this, I've never edited students' information ever. All right, and so then you would go ahead and do all of those things that you wanted to do, and that's what it looks like from the student side of things. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick drink. Again, go ahead if you want to unmute right now and ask a question, or if you want to type a question and I'll put it in our Google Doc later, that's cool too. Okay, awesome, because I want to show you this too. So I want to go back and show you something from the student side of things. Let me go over here to the student side of things. So is that we can consider our non-readers and our emerging readers and our English language learners. So watch what happens as a student when I click this button. I have all of these options for, again, special needs kiddos or English language learners. I can change, so if I click the play button first and foremost.
Who was most to blame for Romeo and Juliet's deaths?
So I get a lot of questions from teachers of littles. Well, I don't have readers yet. How will this work? So again, we walk our students through the process of using the immersive reader. You can also put the voice settings to speed it up or change to a male voice, depends on what your students prefer. Up here, you can also change the text preferences for your students. Or students do that themselves. So I can change if I need bigger text, if I need to increase the spacing, if I want to change the font. I can even, you know, I know that dark theme is becoming very popular for our readers. So there's all kinds of colors that they can do to change the color of the background. Up here are grammar options. So if I click this, it'll break it up into syllables. If I'm teaching parts of speech, why not add these so kiddos get real life example of what these things are, excuse me. And I can also show the labels. I can also add reading preferences. So I can show, whoops, let me go back there. I can show one line of text at a time. So as a student, that might be useful for me as an emerging reader. I can show 3 lines, 1 line, whatever I want. There's also a picture dictionary for our most, I'm going to turn that on. So for our littlest readers, some of these might not have pictures right now, some of these words.
Romeo. Juliet.
Oh, and there's an example of a picture reader. So if the picture exists in the dictionary and you have a word that matches up, it's going to show up to just give a little hint to our emerging readers. And this is beautiful. I can go ahead now and translate. I can go ahead and translate this again for our English language learners.
Chi è stato il momento più responsabile della morte di Romeo e Giulietta?
How cool is that? So again, I think that if there's any tool out there that's, you know, just perfect for just online learning, all kinds of learning, any learning, I do believe it is that one. It is Flipgrid. So, okay, we've shown you things from the teacher side. We've shown you things from the student side. Next up, I wanted to show you the discovery option. Now, here's my thinking. This is why the internet is awesome. There's so much stuff to steal. And by steal, I mean borrow. I want to show you, this is the Discovery Library. This is where there are almost 27,000 topics created by Flipgrid community members that you could borrow. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So let me go ahead and show you some of these ideas. And you can also create and add some of these topics to a collection. Stuff I want to try later. Perfect for English language learners. You know, great for 3rd grade, whatever you want. So you'll see here, they have partnered with, and Flipgrid does like to keep it timely. So right now we've been talking about, you know, sensitivity and racism in the classroom. So they've joined up with the Langston League. So here are all of these topics that have been, you can, you know, go ahead and use as your own topics. The Metropolitan Museum of Art, if you're an art teacher, there's Minecraft, Dyslexic, Wonderopolis, which I've also talked about. There's also, they've been adding each day, which I think these are perfect icebreakers, or if you're doing online learning right now, perfect for icebreakers, perfect for bell ringers, a would you rather math, and or a topic of the day and a wonder of the day. So they always add new topics and wonders. These are all of their partners. Let me click view all. Gina Lee, Bunsey, the World War II Museum, Nearpod, Epic, Code.org, Lego Education, Breakout EDU. All of these things they've partnered with for the Discovery Library. So there's topics within those created by the partners. Here's what's been trending. Tongue twist, 2 truths and a lie. A lot of us are going back to school this week. It's good to know our students. Joke of the day, building empathy, what's in your bag, weekly check-ins. So there's lots of stuff to borrow there. Just for me, this will go with what, like Netflix, Flipgrid is going to make recommendations based on what you have been looking through or creating. They also have featured collections, conversation starters, conversations about racism, back to school. Oh, and that social and emotional learning, which is in there as well. Now, let's suppose you only have a couple minutes and you don't want to have to go, you know, looking through things. Well, go ahead and filter. Pretend it's Amazon and you're looking for something. So if I'm going to look for something again, I'm going to look for language arts. Oops, did it go in there? All right, it didn't go in. All right, Chris, I'm going for social study. Oh, there it is. Sorry. So language arts is there. And my audience, I taught high school. And I'm teaching Romeo and Juliet right now. Enter, and boom, they found 20 topics for me. So I can go ahead and look into these and see what might work for me. So you can see here, this was created by another teacher. Tell me what happened in your scene. Give me a quote stood out to you. Break it down for me. And they also provide integration notes. Usually the creators will add like how you could use it. Now I can go ahead and save it. I can immediately share it out as a topic by clicking this button, or I can go ahead and create a new topic using this. So again, lots of options for me to use. And that's what makes the Discovery Library awesome. Okay, let's see, what else did I want to cover? Talked about duplicate topic, talked about teacher view. I have a little bit of time left and I wasn't planning it. So why don't I stop and take some quick questions before I walk you through. These are not intro things, but we're here, so why not? Any questions? Okie dokie. All right, activity just tells me what's been going on. Flipgrid, I get badges, you know, as a teacher, you're going to get badges for your achievements, how many topics you've created, you know, tells you what's been going on. If I can't remember where I put something, so like here are students who have responded to things that I've created and I can't remember, I can just go in there and find it. Mixtapes are fun. Mixtapes are a way, I like to use them to like highlight a discussion topic or to use it as a conversation starter for the next day. So basically a mixtape means the same thing it did in the 80s. You took the best of the best and put it together in a mixtape. So for example, I'm going to go ahead. Let me go back to one of my groups. All right. And I've got some students here responding. So I did a blended learning book study from Catlin Tucker, and the question was, are the 5 hallmarks of so I have all of these responses. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and randomly, I haven't reviewed these in a month, but look, if I click action next to Dawn, I'm going to add it to a mixtape. So I say create a mixtape, and I'll call it best ideas of the day. I've got a join code here. I can give a description saying these people really, take a look at these responses. They knocked it out of the park, and I can put that there, and I can go ahead and hit create. And so now I've started to create a mixtape, and I'm going to go ahead and add Patrick as well to the mixtape. And I'm going to add Christina, because they were really, their responses were just, their reflections were so inspiring, and they just really nailed it. All right, so I've created a mixtape, and if I go back up here to mixtape, all I have to do is I can share the link to it with my students and say, hey, you know what, these are model responses. I can make a mixtape of an individual student and share it with parents and say, hey, look at what your kiddo's been doing in class. This is amazing. So mixtapes, again, use them in any way. If you ever just want to get a curate, if you ever want to curate good student responses, individual student responses, mixtape is the way to do it. And again, you saw how easy it is to do. It's just a click of a button. And finally, one of my favorite things to use is Flipgrid Shorts. Flipgrid Shorts, as you can see here, is a way for me to record quick videos without having to sign into anything. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Screencastify, but then you have to make sure your sharing settings are, if you're sharing it with another account, and I work in a lot of different schools. So if I just want to make a quick video, maybe I want to make a quick announcement video to start out my day with my kiddos, like I did here. I go ahead and all I do is record a quick short. So yeah, you can see I have lots of issues. But here's my best piece of advice for all of you who are afraid to be on camera. Kids don't care. They would rather see your face than see nothing. And I'll tell you something, we need to get over ourselves, because I'll tell you what, I used to be the person who would put on full makeup before I did a full Flipgrid. Yeah, look at this. That's quarantine hair, baby. Check that out. You can tell I gave up. So it doesn't matter. Be goofy, be yourself, show yourself, especially if you're teaching online, it helps. So this was just like a quick video I created for an introduction to a book study. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 3 of the HyperDocs Handbook Online Book Study. I'm glad you're here. This week, you're going to get to create your first HyperDoc. Okay. Half of it. Okay, so you can see, and then a same thing, just a quick link to copy, and I dropped it in my Google Classroom for students to see. So you also have the option, just like in anything else, I have all of, when I record, Same options I always have. So a lot of times I will record my screen to walk students through things, through my thinking if I'm creating something. And if I don't have time to get into Screencastify or anything like that, this is just another option. Plus, you don't get to add emojis and fun stuff and crowns to Screencastify. So again, that's another quick option. And then finally, let's take a look at GridPals. GridPals, now I've got mine hidden because I don't have anybody to connect with, but there are 32,000 educators willing to connect with you across, and your students. Let's go global. So again, I'm looking for a high school class. We want to talk and share. I want to know what kiddos in Canada think about Romeo and Juliet. I want to know what kids in England think about Romeo and Juliet. So let's see if I can find something here. Oh, bummer. Couldn't find any GridPals for me. Okay, let's widen it up. I should have done this before I got on, but I didn't think I was going to get this far today. Okay, so guess what? Let me zoom out here a little bit. You know what? I think I want to talk to somebody in South America. So all I do is I can go ahead and I've clicked there, and Karina Esposito, you know what? I'm going to get her contact information, and I'm going to send her a quick note, and I'm going to find these people who are dying to find other kiddos around the globe, and I'm going to connect with them. So let's say, so again, same thing. Just go ahead and connect with them and get to know them and reach out. It's that simple. And if you ever want to know more, Flipgrid's got everything here. Okay, we're running about 5 minutes to the end. So what I do want to, so what I want to do, I know I've gone through a lot, but I'm not leaving you hanging, I promise. Here's what I'm going to do for you right now. I'm going to show you everything that we have talked about today is in, like I mentioned, this Wakelet board that I created. So what we talked about, the introduction, how to sign up, how to get started. Getting started with Flipgrid. I've got a quick video here for you, how to create a group, how to create a topic, how to use the immersive reader, how students can record and submit a video, all of those features and effects that we talked about, how to use the discovery library to find stuff, what things look like from the teacher view, and how you can provide video and private feedback to students. And I've also added some quick, great resources here for you. This is Flipgrid just updated their Getting Started guide. So if you'd prefer to go there and do the step-by-step guide, their help center is amazing. I know a lot of help centers are convoluted. Like everything else, Flipgrid's help center is super easy to follow. I've also added here 25 ways to start using Flipgrid in your classroom. This is a great article. Oh, okay. So much for that. All right. I'm going to update that and find the better link. There's also, I recommend you follow Flipgrid's blog to get updates. I always like to see what's going on, and it keeps me up to date on what's going on. And this is great too. Flipgrid came up with, actually teachers joined the Flipgrid blog and came up with some really great ideas of how to use Flipgrid for remote learning. So here are some great ideas, and you can follow that too. That's on there. All right, now here's all you have to do today. Don't do it right away because I'm going to update this board. But maybe, later tonight or tomorrow, I'd like you to go ahead and leave your own Flipgrid. So you're going to act as a student. I tweeted this out last week. A lot of people think we're living in educational chaos, and I wonder if right now we are living in an educational renaissance. So I'd like your thinking. So you'll click that link and you can go ahead and share. And once you go ahead and share to our Flipgrid, I'd like it very much if you would like to get a certificate of learning from the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio. Just quickly go ahead and fill out this very quick Google form, and we will check your spam, but by the end of this week, we're going to get you your certificate of learning for 1 contact hour. Since this webinar is being recorded, it takes, I don't know, anywhere between 10 and 30 minutes when I turn it off for it to be available. So I'll add it here. And I'm going to take our transcript if there's any questions you have, and I'll add them here. I just wanted to let you know, if you ever need to get in touch with me, click this link. I have added, it's a Google slide deck, but I published it to the web so it looks like a website. So I'm running virtual office hours. So you can click that and do virtual office hours, and you'll be able to know through Google Meet. You can also book an appointment with me for 15-minute time slots or more. I also have created a virtual help desk on Flipgrid. So if you ever need any help immediately, this is open 24/7. My fall PD catalog is there. Whoops, it's right there. Also, these are my socials. I literally am new to TikTok. I love it because for the longest time, I have had the idea of creating 60-second PD. And my kids introduced me to TikTok, and I found a useful way to use it instead of, posting weird videos of myself dancing to Taylor Swift, Marry Me, Juliet song. So if you have kids, you get that. So I'm available. I am here. Now, speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and drop this Wakelet board into our chat for you. So I recommend that you go ahead and click on it. If you click on it right now in our chat, you'll be able to, it should open up in a new window. And I recommend you go ahead and bookmark that. That's got everything. It's our one-stop shop for today, basically. Whew, okay, that is that. So I'm going to hang out for a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to add the webinar at the end. I'm going to turn this off in a little bit, and I'm going to hang out in case any of you have any quick questions or need me to walk you through anything. I'm happy to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to say thank you for being here. I love seeing some of my loyal followers and your faces. It's good to see you. I know you guys are rocking it. Irene, thank you. It was my pleasure. I'm glad you joined us. Again, help. I'm here if you need me. There's pretty much no way you can, except carrier pigeon or smoke signals, but I'm here if you need me. So thank you all for being here, and happy Flipgridding.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.